everyone, welcome in our channel. Today we're gonna talk about Chinese New Year. Yes, Chinese New Year. You may wonder why we need to talk about Chinese New Year. You know, we're talking about logistics, we're talking about shipping, international shipping. What's about Chinese New Year? Well, before I tell you that, remember to subscribe to our channel, leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed the video. Back to the topic, before we go ahead, let me remind you that NDW Commerce is here to help you out. If you need packaging optimization, supply chain optimization, international shipping, entering new markets, some help with, let's say, international requirements or new product introductions, or even sourcing a supplier, finding a new warehouse or fulfillment center, we are here to help. Just contact us by using the email here. So let's talk about Chinese New Year. So Chinese New Year is very, let's say, important celebration for China. We also celebrate Chinese New Year here in Hong Kong, but I would say that it lasts less compared to China. In China, factory can close up to 4 to 6 weeks. It's a long time, especially if you need to replace your stocks. So it's actually very crucial time of the year, even worse than Black Friday, I would say, in terms of operations and backlogs and shortage. Black Friday and Christmas. Why? Because you literally have a shutdown. While during Christmas and Black Friday you can keep ordering stuff, they keep arriving, just a matter of how many orders you have. For Chinese New Year you may not have the stocks despite having the orders, so it's even worse. Of course, Chinese New Year doesn't fall always on the same date every year. They follow the Lunar Calendar. This means that one year is in January maybe, another year is in February, and so on. This means that you need to plan every year differently, the dates, the amount of stock based on your growth, but based also on when Chinese New Year falls on, and also the availability of your new factories, of your factory, and so on. So generally, I would say on average it's at least 2 weeks, but it can be 4, sometimes even 6. It really depends. So there are 2 things you need to keep in mind. First of all, ordered packaging. You may have enough stocks, but what about the packaging? If you have no packaging in stock, you have no packaging to ship. You may have stocks, you may have orders, but you don't have packaging. And production is not gonna start again before, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks. So everything shuts down completely. So you need to consider, for example, you have, let's consider the best case. For example, 2 weeks closure. So you have 2 weeks closure. And then for your packaging, it takes 2 weeks or 10 days to produce, which means that on top of the 2 weeks, you need 10 more days or 2 more weeks to produce the packaging. It's already a month. And then they need to deliver to you. And then you need to use the packaging. So it's at least a month in the best case scenario to get your packaging in place. If the factory stays, let's say, closed for 3 weeks, then you have 3 weeks plus 2 of production. So even if you place the order, it takes 2 weeks or 10 days or 1 week to produce. And for stocks, it's even more. They're not going to produce something in 2 weeks. They need a plan. They need, let's say, more time. Most of the times, like at least 1 month or 2 weeks notice. It really depends also on the quantities. So it's going to take a long time. So let me tell you, packaging is something that generally people forget about. They always think about stocks, and they always think about, okay, I need to have enough stocks. And then what about the packaging? Did you order enough packaging for a month? Because you have 2 weeks closure plus 2 weeks lead time. No. Wow. Where are we gonna get packaging now? So definitely worth to keep in mind, anything that goes out with your order needs to be there, which means that anything, for example, that goes with any booklets or marketing material, anything, any promotion that you want to run, just make sure that you have everything in place for at least a month, or at least like the entire period that it takes for closure and production together to be back to normal. And then for stocks, of course, it's going to take more. So you should always ask to your manufacturer, what is the cutoff? I need to get things before Chinese New Year, make sure they have enough stocks based on those forecasts and those volumes until you actually start again the production, considering the lead time. So from the time you go on leave to the time I actually get enough stock back which consider the entire period of closure and lead time to produce, then when is the date I need to place my order with you? Like, and how many units you think I'm gonna need based on those forecasts. So that's how you should do it. You should plan on getting enough stocks in advance to avoid having nothing to sell for 4 weeks. Generally, it happens also the factories, the weeks after, a few weeks after Chinese New Year, they just stay open on the weekends to cover for the missing hours, for example. But yeah, I would say that applies to warehouses too. Like, factories are one thing, it's like 2 weeks or even 4 weeks, it depends. But warehouses follow the same logic. Maybe they're not the case of doing like 2 full weeks. They may do like, say, 10 days. It also depends on which day of the week it falls. You know, if it's already like, I don't know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, then they may work just on Monday, and then, or just take the Monday off, and then it's 2 weeks in a row they didn't do nothing, for example. So it really depends, I would say, but you should consider at least 8 days, from 8 to 2 weeks. That from 8 days to 2 weeks, that, let's say, warehouses can be closed. So it's not only factories, it's also warehouses. Even if warehouses, let's say, they generally take less time compared to factories, but factories are, I'll say, on average 3 weeks, I would say. Warehouses, 8 days on average, but you may also end up having 2 weeks of closure. And in that case, you may want to relocate somewhere else. And that's the importance of having a different fulfillment center. You don't have to focus on only one, especially if it's in China, because they do have a few holidays, but when they have them, they're quite long compared to any other country where they're maybe closed 1 to 2, 3 days maximum, even Christmas, you know. So I would say it's important to differentiate, especially if you're selling only from China. And I believe this is something that's quite a big thing for drop shippers or anyone that has a fulfillment center or warehouse in China. So just plan ahead and make sure you actually have a backup plan. Let's say you have another fulfillment center, maybe in Hong Kong if you don't have China. If you have it already in China, maybe consider to have someone temporarily in Hong Kong, or maybe have some orders still going through Hong Kong overall. But that's a good option, or anywhere else in the world, just to avoid stopping like shipping out orders, because you're going to accumulate a backlog. But at the same time, it's a quite long backlog for a month. Like, how are you going to justify that with your customers? You can't. So just plan ahead and remember that Chinese New Year, it's quite a big holiday, long closure of manufacturers for stocks, packaging, but also warehouses.